The night my mother died. She locked herself in her bedroom, swallowed a bottle of pills, and left behind 2 boxes with my name on them. I didn't open them for 13 years, because a part of me always believed. She didn't kill herself to escape life. She did it to escape something inside our family. Something she thought would become me. My name is Ethan Cole. I'm 30 years old. And this is the story of why I'm still afraid to know who I really am. We lived in a quiet suburb outside Columbus, Ohio. The kind of place where neighbors waved, lawns were trimmed every Saturday, and nothing ever seemed out of place. From the outside, we looked normal. 5 brothers, 1 single mom. But inside that house, there was always this quiet, invisible tension. Like something was wrong, but no one could quite say what. My mom, Rachel Cole. My mom wasn't cold. She wasn't distant. She wasn't abusive. That's what made everything confusing. She packed lunches, came to school meetings, kissed our foreheads goodnight. But she also watched us, constantly. Not like a mother checking on her kids, like a guard watching prisoners. Her eyes were always searching, studying, analyzing. Sometimes I'd catch her staring at one of us, and the moment we noticed, she'd smile. Too quickly, too artificially. Like she got caught thinking something she shouldn't. Daniel won the silent exit. Daniel was the oldest. He used to be normal, according to old photos at least. Smiling, holding baseball trophies, arms around all of us. But I don't remember that version of him. The Daniel I knew barely spoke. He stayed in his room, door locked, lights off. And when he did come out, he never looked anyone in the eye, especially Mom. When he turned 17, he left. No goodbye, no note, just gone. Mom didn't cry. She just stood in the kitchen, staring at the empty chair like she expected it. Marcus, too, the slow disappearance. Marcus didn't leave all at once. He faded. It started small. Less talking, less laughing, less reacting. You'd say something to him, and there'd be this delay, like he had to process how to act human. It got worse over time, until one day, he just stopped showing up to school, stopped answering calls. Eventually, he was gone too. And again, Mom didn't panic, didn't search, didn't even seem surprised. Tyler 3, the one who saw too much. Tyler was different. He noticed things. The tension, the silence, the way Mom watched us. And he hated it. "This house is messed up," he said once. We were sitting in the living room, TV on, no one really watching. "What are you talking about?" I asked. He looked at me, really looked at me, like he was trying to decide something. "You don't feel it?" he asked. I didn't answer, because I did. I just didn't have words for it. Tyler fought with Mom constantly. Not loud screaming matches, but quiet, intense arguments. The kind where voices stayed low, but the air felt heavy, dangerous. "You think I don't see what's happening?" Tyler said one night. Mom didn't respond immediately. She just stood there, watching him. That same look, careful, measured. "You don't understand," she finally said. "Then explain it," Tyler snapped. Silence. Long. Uncomfortable. Then she said something that didn't make sense back then, but would haunt me years later. "I'm trying to protect you." Jake 4, the one I trusted. Jake was the closest to me, only 18 months older. He was normal. At least that's what I believed. He laughed, joked, played video games with me. When the house got tense, he'd pull me out of it. "Come on," he'd say, grabbing his keys. "Let's go get food or something." He felt safe, like whatever was wrong with everyone else didn't apply to him. Or me. That's what I thought. Me, Ethan 5. I was the youngest, the last one left, the one Mom watched the most, but also the one she treated the softest. She never fought with me, never raised her voice. But sometimes, late at night, I'd wake up and see her standing in my doorway, just watching, not moving, not speaking, just watching. And for some reason, that scared me more than anything else. I was 13. It was a normal afternoon. Warm, quiet. Jake and I were outside. He was messing around with a neighbor kid, Chris. They were laughing, shoving each other. Normal. Until it wasn't. Something changed. I didn't hear it. Didn't see it start. But I felt it. Like the air suddenly got heavier. Jake grabbed Chris. Hard. Too hard. Chris laughed at first. Dude, okay, chill. But Jake didn't let go. His face. It went blank. Not angry. Not emotional. Just empty. Jake. I said. No response. His grip tightened. Chris started struggling now. Actually struggling. Jake stop. Nothing. It was like he couldn't hear me. Like he wasn't there anymore. Jake. And then, he let go. Just released him. Stepped back. Breathing normal. Face normal. Like nothing happened. Chris backed away, terrified. What the hell is wrong with you? He said. Jake didn't answer. Didn't even look at him. He just turned and walked inside. That night, Mom called Jake into the kitchen. Her voice was calm. Too calm. I wasn't supposed to hear. But I stood by the hallway anyway, listening. You think I didn't notice? She said. Silence. You're getting worse. My chest tightened. Jake didn't argue. Didn't deny it. I can control it, he said quietly. A long pause. Then Mom spoke again. And this time, her voice had something in it. Fear. No, she said. You can't. After that night, everything changed. Rules got stricter. Jake wasn't allowed out alone anymore. Tyler started getting watched even more. Even Marcus, before he disappeared, was being monitored constantly. But me, nothing changed. I could go out, do whatever I wanted. At the time, I thought I was lucky. Now, I think she was waiting. Because the scariest part wasn't what I saw in Jake that day. It was what I felt, for just a second, when I was yelling at him to stop. There was this thought, a quiet, intrusive thought. Not fear, not panic. Something else. Something colder. Something that whispered. What would happen if he didn't stop? And the worst part, for that split second, I didn't want him to. That thought stayed with me. I didn't tell anyone. Didn't even fully acknowledge it. But it was there, in the back of my mind. And over time, I started noticing things. Small things. Mom watching me longer than before. Tyler avoiding me sometimes. Jake. Jake looking at me differently. Like he knew something I didn't. A week later, Jake got arrested. Late at night. Police at the door. Flashing lights through the windows. They didn't explain much. Just that there had been an incident. Something violent. And as they took him away, he looked back at me. Not scared. Not angry. Just calm. And for a second, I saw that same empty look again. The same one from the backyard. And behind him, standing in the doorway, my mom wasn't crying. She wasn't shocked. She wasn't even surprised. She just closed her eyes. Like something she had been afraid of for years had finally happened. The police said my brother hurt someone. But the way my mom reacted, it felt like she had been waiting for that moment his entire life. I didn't understand it then. I thought something bad had just happened. Now I know. That night wasn't the beginning of anything. It was proof. They didn't tell us everything right away. Just enough to make it worse. There was an altercation, the officer said. Another kid is in the hospital. My chest tightened. What kind of altercation? Tyler asked. The officer hesitated. Then he looked at my mom. Not at us. At her. Like he already knew she understood. He attacked him, the officer said. Unprovoked. Silence. Heavy. Suffocating. I looked at my mom, waiting for something. Shock. Anger. Denial. Anything. But she didn't react. Not really. She just nodded slowly. Like someone hearing confirmation of something they already feared. After Jake was taken, the house didn't feel empty. It felt exposed. Like whatever had been hiding in the background was now closer, watching. Tyler stopped pretending everything was fine. This isn't normal, he said that same night. We were in the kitchen, Mom standing across from him. You knew something was wrong with him, Tyler continued. Mom didn't respond. You knew, he repeated. Still nothing. That silence. It made everything worse. Say something. Tyler snapped. And finally, she did. I tried, she said quietly. Her voice was shaking now. I tried to stop it. Tyler laughed. But it wasn't real laughter. It was sharp, bitter. Stop what? He said. Mom looked at him. And for the first time in my life, I saw something in her eyes. Not control. Not calculation. Fear. Real fear. You don't understand what's happening to you, she said. To us. Tyler took a step back. What does that even mean? He asked. She didn't answer. Instead, she said something else. Something that changed everything. It's not just Jake. The room went silent. My heart started pounding. What do you mean? I asked. She didn't look at me. She kept her eyes on Tyler. Daniel left because he felt it, she said. Marcus lost himself to it. Tyler shook his head. No, he said. No, that's not real. But his voice. It wasn't confident. It was scared. I felt it then. Not understanding. Not clarity. Something worse. Recognition. Because that thought I had in the backyard, the one I tried to ignore, it came back. Stronger this time. Clearer. What would happen if he didn't stop? And suddenly, I wasn't sure that thought was normal. After that night, Mom changed. She became stricter, more intense. Not just watching anymore. Controlling. Curfews. Check-ins. She started asking strange questions. Questions that didn't make sense. Do you ever feel disconnected? She asked me once. I frowned. What? Like you're watching yourself instead of being yourself. I shook my head. But I lied. Because the truth was, sometimes I did feel that way. Like there was a second version of me. Quieter. Colder. Just observing. Waiting. And I didn't want her to know that. Because the way she looked at Jake. The way she talked about Daniel and Marcus. I didn't want her to look at me like that. A few weeks later, it happened again. This time, it was Tyler. We were in the garage, working on something stupid. Didn't matter what. I just remember the moment. He dropped a tool, and something about that triggered it. He froze, completely still. Tyler, I said, slowly. He looked up, and I felt it again. That shift, that emptiness. Why does it matter? He said quietly. What? Why does any of it matter? His voice. It didn't sound like him. It was flat, detached. Tyler, you're freaking me out, I said. He stepped closer. Too close. Do you ever think about it? He asked. My chest tightened. Think about what? He tilted his head slightly, studying me. Hurting someone. My stomach dropped. Before I could respond, Mom's voice cut through the garage. Tyler. Sharp. Commanding. He froze. Then slowly. He blinked. And just like that, He was back. Normal. Confused. "What?" he said, like nothing had happened. I looked at Mom. She was standing in the doorway, face pale, hands shaking. And for the first time, she didn't look like she was trying to control the situation. She looked like she was losing. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about what Tyler said, about Jake, about Daniel, about Marcus, about me. And around 2 a.m., I saw a light coming from Mom's room. Her door was slightly open. I walked closer, quiet, careful, and through the gap, I saw something that made my blood run cold. She was sitting on the floor, surrounded by papers, photos, files, and in the middle of it all, there were 5 names written over and over again. Daniel, Marcus, Tyler, Jake, and mine. And next to each name, there were notes, patterns, dates, and one word written again and again. Progression. My mom wasn't just watching us. She was documenting us, tracking us, like we were part of something she didn't know how to stop. That night, standing outside her door, I realized something that changed everything. This wasn't fear anymore. This was research. The door was barely open, just enough for me to see inside. Mom sat on the floor, surrounded, papers everywhere, photos scattered like evidence in some crime scene. My heart was pounding so loud. I was sure she'd hear it, but she didn't look up. She was focused, obsessed. I leaned closer, and that's when I saw it clearly. 5 names, written again, and again, and again. Daniel, Marcus, Tyler, Jake, Ethan. Mine was circled. Not once, multiple times. My throat went dry. Until that moment, I thought whatever was happening was something happening to them. Not me, but seeing my name like that, not just included, highlighted. Something inside me shifted. Fear turned into something sharper, something colder. Awareness. Next to each name, there were notes, dates, observations, and the same word repeated over and over again. Progression. Daniel, stage 3 before departure. Marcus, stage 4 emotional absence. Jake, stage 5 loss of control. Tyler, stage 2 resistance present. And me, Ethan, stage 1 emerging. My stomach dropped. "You shouldn't be up." Her voice cut through the silence. I froze. Slowly. She turned her head toward the door. Her eyes met mine. And for a second, neither of us spoke. There was no anger in her expression. No shock. Just exhaustion. Like she had been expecting this moment too. "Come in," she said softly. I stepped inside. Carefully. Like I was entering somewhere I wasn't supposed to exist. "What is all this?" I asked. My voice sounded smaller than I felt. She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she started gathering the papers. Slowly. Deliberately. "It's nothing you need to worry about," she said. That lie. It broke something in me. "Don't do that," I said. She paused. "Don't lie to me," I whispered. She looked at me again. And this time, she didn't try to hide it. "You felt it, haven't you?" she asked. My chest tightened. "I don't know what you're talking about." Another lie. She nodded slightly. "Yes, you do." Silence filled the room. Heavy. Unavoidable. "It starts small," she said. "Thoughts that don't feel like yours." My heart started racing. "Mom. Moments where you feel disconnected," she continued. Her voice was calm, but her hands were shaking. Like you're watching yourself instead of being yourself. I couldn't speak, because everything she was saying was true. "What is it?" I asked finally. She hesitated, and that hesitation, it terrified me more than anything. "I don't know," she said. That wasn't the answer I expected. But I've seen it before, she continued. In my family. My mind struggled to catch up. What do you mean? She looked down at the papers. My father, she said quietly. He changed. The room felt colder. He became someone I didn't recognize. Her voice cracked slightly. And one day, she stopped. Like she couldn't finish it. I thought I escaped it, she whispered. When I had you boys, I thought it ended with him. Her eyes filled with something I had never seen before. Guilt. But it didn't. It shows up differently in each of you, she said. Daniel felt it first, that's why he left. Marcus couldn't fight it, he just faded. Jake, she swallowed. Jake lost control. And Tyler. She closed her eyes. He's trying to fight it. And me? I asked. My voice barely came out. She looked at me. Longer than she ever had before. Like she was trying to see something beneath the surface. You're early, she said. Stage 1. That word again. Stage. Like this wasn't random. Like it was a process. Something inevitable. I don't want this, I said. And for the first time. My voice cracked. She nodded. I know. But wanting doesn't stop it. She reached out. Placed her hand on mine. You have to learn to recognize it, she said. Before it recognizes you. That night. I didn't sleep. I just sat there. Thinking. Feeling. Waiting. And sometime before morning. I felt it again. That same cold, quiet presence. Not outside. Inside. Watching. Observing. Patient. And for the first time, I realized something that made my blood run cold. It wasn't just something that happened to us. It was something that was growing. And the worst part, a small part of me, was curious to see what would happen when it finished. The first time I realized my mom might be right was the moment I couldn't remember what I had just done. But everyone else could. After that night, after she told me about the stages, I tried to act normal. But once you become aware of something inside you, you can't unsee it. The house didn't feel like a home anymore. It felt like containment. Doors stayed locked. Windows checked constantly. Mom stopped leaving us alone together. Even meals changed. No more sitting as a family. We ate separately, like she was trying to prevent something from happening between us. Tyler stopped talking to me. Not completely, but enough to feel it. Distance. Avoidance. Fear. And that hurt more than anything. Because he wasn't just scared of himself anymore. He was scared of me. One night, I finally confronted him. Why are you avoiding me? I asked. We were in the hallway. Late. Quiet. He didn't answer right away. Just stared at me. Studying. Like Mom used to. You ever feel like, he started. Then stopped. Like what? I pressed. He exhaled slowly. Like you're not alone in your own head. My chest tightened instantly. I didn't answer. Because I knew exactly what he meant. A few days later, it happened. Not outside. Not with strangers. Inside the house. Close. Too close. We were in the kitchen. Mom was upstairs. It was just me and Tyler. Silence between us. Heavy. Uncomfortable. Then, he laughed. Out of nowhere. Not normal laughter. Sharp. Sudden. I looked at him. What? I asked. He shook his head. Nothing. But his eyes. They weren't right. There was something off. Something detached. Tyler. I said carefully. And then it happened. Fast. Too fast. He grabbed a glass. And slammed it against the counter. It shattered instantly. Pieces everywhere. My heart jumped. What are you doing? I yelled. He didn't answer. He just stood there. Breathing slowly. Looking at the broken glass like it fascinated him. Then, he picked up a shard. held it in his hand, studied it. Blood started forming instantly. But he didn't react, didn't flinch, didn't even seem to feel it. "Tyler, put it down," I said. My voice was shaking now. He turned toward me slowly, and I swear, for a second, he smiled. Not a happy smile. Something else. Something empty. "You ever wonder," he said quietly, "what it feels like to just let go?" My stomach dropped. "Stop," I said, but he stepped closer, still holding the glass, still bleeding. And for a moment, everything inside me froze. Fear, logic, movement, all gone. And something else replaced it. Something cold, something curious. Instead of stepping back, I stepped forward, without thinking, without fear, just instinct. "Give it to me," I said. My voice. It didn't sound like mine. It was calm, too calm. Tyler stopped, looked at me, confused, like something about me had changed. Then suddenly, his expression snapped. Reality came rushing back. "What am I doing?" he whispered. The shard dropped from his hand, clattered to the floor. Mom rushed in seconds later. Her eyes scanned everything instantly. Broken glass, blood, us. "What happened?" she demanded. No one answered, because no one could. She looked at Tyler, then at me, and something in her expression shifted. Worse than fear. Confirmation. "Go to your rooms," she said. We didn't argue, didn't question. We just obeyed. That night, I heard her crying. For the first time in my life. Not quiet tears. Not controlled. Real. Broken. Like someone who had run out of hope. A few nights later, I woke up standing. Not in my bed. Not in my room. In the hallway. My heart was racing. I didn't remember getting there. Didn't remember waking up. Nothing. Just standing. Breathing. Aware. And then, I heard something. A soft sound. Downstairs. I moved slowly. Step by step. Trying not to make noise. The house was dark. Silent. But that feeling. It was back. Stronger this time. Like something was guiding me. Pulling me forward. I reached the kitchen. And froze. The knife drawer was open. And one knife was missing. My hands started shaking. Because I didn't remember opening it. I didn't remember coming here. But deep down, I knew. That wasn't the scariest part. The scariest part was, for a split second, standing there in the dark. I didn't feel scared. I felt calm. I woke up holding a knife. And I had no memory of picking it up. There are moments in life where everything changes instantly. Not slowly, not gradually. Just one realization. And nothing is the same again. I stood there in the kitchen, breathing slow. Too slow. The knife felt normal in my hand. Natural. Like it belonged there. That scared me more than anything. Because I didn't remember taking it. Didn't remember walking downstairs. Didn't remember anything. And yet, I was here. My heart suddenly kicked into overdrive. "What the hell?" I whispered. My voice echoed in the quiet house. I dropped the knife instantly. It hit the floor with a sharp metallic sound. Too loud. Too real. I stepped back like it burned me. Hands shaking. Mind racing. This isn't normal. No. This is exactly what Mom was talking about. I tried to remember anything, but there was just nothing. A gap. Like a piece of my mind had been erased. And in its place, silence. That's when I heard it. A sound. Soft. From the hallway. I turned slowly. Every muscle in my body tense. And there, standing at the end of the hallway, was Mom. She wasn't surprised. She wasn't confused. She was watching me. We stood there in silence, the knife on the floor between us, my breathing uneven, her expression devastated. "You don't remember," she said quietly. It wasn't a question. I shook my head slowly. "No." My voice cracked. "I don't." She closed her eyes, and for a moment, it looked like she physically couldn't handle it, like something inside her just broke. "It's getting faster," she whispered. "What is?" I asked, but I already knew the answer. She stepped forward slowly, carefully, like she didn't fully trust me anymore. "That's how it starts," she said. The gaps. My chest tightened. Small at first, seconds, minutes. Her voice trembled, then longer. I felt cold, like something inside me had dropped. Did I? I couldn't finish the sentence. She looked at me, and for a second, I saw hesitation. That hesitation told me everything. "You didn't hurt anyone," she said quickly. Too quickly. That wasn't the answer I asked for. "What did I do?" I whispered. Silence. Heavy. Then she spoke. "You were standing over Tyler's door." My heart stopped. "What?" I said. "You were just standing there," she continued. "Not moving. Just watching." My stomach twisted violently. Was I trying to? I couldn't say it. She shook her head. "I don't know." That answer was worse than anything else. I looked toward Tyler's room. The door was open. Empty. "Where is he?" I asked. My voice was shaking now. She didn't respond immediately. And that silence, it stretched too long. "Mom," I said again. Finally. She spoke. "He left." Just like that. Gone. Another one. Just like Daniel. Just like Marcus. "Why?" I asked, even though I already. She looked at me. And this time, there was no hesitation. "He was afraid of you." The words didn't hit all at once. They sank slowly, piece by piece, heavy, permanent. Tyler wasn't just scared of himself. He was scared of me. I felt something inside me crack. Not loudly, not dramatically, quiet, like a fracture that had been forming for a long time. Finally giving in. "I didn't do anything," I said, but the words felt empty, because I didn't know if they were true. Mom stepped closer, closer than she had in days. She reached out, then stopped, like she wasn't sure if she should touch me. That hurt more than anything else. "We don't have time anymore," she said. My chest tightened again. "What do you mean?" She looked toward the stairs, then back at me. "I was hoping I could slow it down," she said. "But I can't." She walked past me, into the living room. I followed, still shaking, still trying to process everything. She knelt down near a closet, opened it, and pulled something out. 2 cardboard boxes. My breath caught instantly, because I knew exactly what they were. My name was written on them, in black marker. "Not yet," I whispered, because I remembered. Her rule. 1. Together. She looked at me, and for the first time, there was something final in her expression. "We don't have that time anymore." She pushed the boxes toward me. My hands trembled as I stared at them. Years of waiting, fear, questions, all sitting right in front of me. "I need you to understand before it's too late," she said. And something in her voice, something deep, told me this wasn't just about answers anymore. It was about survival. My entire life. My mom had been collecting pieces of me, not as memories, but as evidence. Those boxes were never gifts. They weren't sentimental. They weren't something a loving mother saves for her child's future. They were records, proof, a timeline of something growing inside me. I stared at them, hands shaking, heart racing. "This wasn't supposed to happen like this," I said. She nodded slowly. "I know." Her voice was tired, defeated. "But we don't have a choice anymore." The room felt smaller, like everything was closing in. "Open them," she said. I didn't move, because opening those boxes meant something. It meant this was real, that whatever she believed, whatever she feared, it wasn't just in her head. "I'm scared," I admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. She looked at me, and for the first time, she didn't hide it. "So am I." I opened the smaller one first. The tape peeled slowly. The sound, it felt louder than it should have. Inside were normal things, at least at first. Drawings, school papers, old toys, photos. My chest tightened slightly. This felt familiar, safe. For a moment, I almost believed I was wrong, that this was just a normal box. Then I saw the notes. Each item had something attached to it. Small labels, dates, comments. I picked up a drawing, stick figures, a house, me, Mom, my brothers, a normal kid's drawing. Until I turned it over. Age 6, no emotional response when Marcus cried after injury. My breath caught. I grabbed another one. A school report. Teacher's note, very calm child, doesn't react strongly to conflict. On the back. Mom's handwriting. Age 8 observes more than engages, possible early sign. My hands started shaking harder. "These are just notes," I said quickly, trying to dismiss it, trying to hold on to something normal. But even as I said it, I knew this wasn't normal. "Open the second one," she said. Her voice was quieter now, like she already knew what was coming. I hesitated, then slowly. I reached for it. The tape felt heavier this time, like it didn't want to come off. But it did. And inside, everything changed. Files, photos, recordings, not childhood memories, documentation. I pulled out a photograph. My hands froze. It was me, standing in the hallway, late at night. I didn't remember it. Another photo. Me, in the kitchen, holding something. A knife. My heart slammed against my chest. "When was this?" I asked. My voice barely worked. She didn't answer. Instead, she handed me something else. A small recorder. "Play it," she said. My hands trembled as I pressed the button. Static. Then, my voice. "I don't think it matters." I froze. That wasn't how I talk. "That's what they don't understand," the voice continued. Calm, flat, detached. "They think it's wrong, but it's just natural." I stopped breathing. "Why do we have to pretend we care?" I dropped the recorder. "That's not me," I said immediately. Too fast, too defensive. But deep down, something inside me recognized it. "That was during a blackout," she said softly. My vision blurred. "No. You don't remember," she continued. "But I do." I backed away, shaking my head. No, this isn't real." "It is," she said. And the way she said it. It ended the argument before it even started. "What is this?" I whispered, not asking anymore, begging. She looked at me. And this time, she didn't hold anything back. "It's not just behavior," she said. "It's not just trauma." She took a slow breath, like even saying it out loud was dangerous. "It's something deeper, something that removes empathy." My chest tightened painfully, piece by piece, until there's nothing left. I stood there, surrounded by proof, photos I didn't remember, words I didn't believe I said, a version of myself, I had never met. And yet, it was me. Or at least, something wearing my face. And for the first time, I understood why my mom was afraid. Because the scariest part wasn't what I had done. It was how normal it started to feel. My mom didn't collect those boxes to save memories. She made them for the day she would have to decide. Which one of us couldn't be saved? I wish I could say I walked away from those boxes. Closed them. Ignored everything inside. Pretended none of it was real. But once you see something like that, you can't go back. I sat there on the floor, the recorder still beside me, the sound of my own voice echoing in my head. Not my voice. That version of me. Cold, detached, unfamiliar. How long? I asked. My voice was empty. How long has this been happening? Mom didn't answer immediately. She looked at the boxes, at the photos, at everything she had collected over the years. Longer than you think, she said quietly. You knew, I said. It wasn't a question. It was an accusation. She closed her eyes. Yes, that one word. It hit harder than anything else. You watched all of this happen. My voice started shaking, and you didn't tell me. I was trying to protect you, she said. The same words, the same excuse. But this time, it didn't feel like protection. It felt like control. Protect me from what? I snapped. From myself. My chest was rising and falling rapidly now. Everything inside me. Fear. Confusion. Anger. Colliding all at once. You think I wanted this? She shot back. Her voice broke for the first time. You think I wanted to watch my own children disappear one by one? Silence slammed into the room. Heavy. Unavoidable. I tried everything, she whispered. Therapists, doctors, medication. She laughed softly. But there was no humor in it. They all said the same thing. That nothing was wrong. My mind struggled to process that. What do you mean? I asked. They didn't see it, she said. They couldn't. Because it doesn't show up the way people expect. It's not loud. It's not obvious. It's quiet. Controlled. Until it isn't. A cold realization settled in my chest. Daniel leaving. Marcus fading. Jake snapping. Tyler breaking. None of it was sudden. None of it was random. It was progression. Exactly like she said. I ran out of time, she said suddenly. Her voice dropped lower. Heavier. What do you mean? I asked. She looked at me. And something in her expression changed. Final. I thought I could manage it, she said. Control it. Slow it down. But after tonight, she glanced toward the hallway, toward where Tyler's room used to be. I can't anymore. My heart started pounding again. What are you saying? She didn't answer directly. Instead, she stood up slowly, walked past me, into the kitchen. I followed, every step heavier than the last. She opened a cap, reached inside, and pulled out something small, white, a bottle. My stomach dropped instantly. No, I whispered. She didn't look at me. I needed to understand it first, she said quietly, before I could make a decision. What decision? I demanded, my voice rising now, desperate. She turned to face me, and for the first time, there were tears in her eyes. Whether I could save you, or if I needed to stop it. The words didn't make sense at first. Then they did. And when they did, everything inside me went cold. You're talking about killing me, I said. My voice barely worked. She didn't respond. That silence, it confirmed everything. You think I'm a monster, I said. Now my voice was shaking uncontrollably. I think you're becoming something you can't control, she said. That's not the same thing. It is to me. I snapped. Because in that moment, it didn't matter what she meant. All I heard was, she was afraid of me. I wasn't going to do it like that, she said suddenly. That stopped me. What? I asked. She looked down at the bottle, then back at me. I wasn't going to hurt you. I was going to stop myself. The room spun. What? If I'm gone, she continued, then there's no one left to trigger it. That doesn't make sense, I said. It does, she insisted. I've been studying it for years. It accelerates under stress, under emotional pressure, and I'm the biggest source of that. So your solution is to die, I said. My voice broke completely now. To give you a chance, she whispered. Tears rolled down her face, but she didn't wipe them. I couldn't save the others, but maybe I can still save you. I stared at her, at the bottle in her hand, at the woman who had spent her entire life trying to understand something no one else could see. And for the first time, I didn't know who was more dangerous, her or me, because deep down, buried under all the fear, there was something else, something quiet, something cold, something that whispered, let her do it. My mom didn't collect those boxes to save memories. She made them for the day she'd have to decide which one of us couldn't be saved. I didn't understand that at the time. Standing in the kitchen, staring at that small white bottle in her hand, all I felt was fear. Raw, suffocating fear that pressed against my chest like it wanted to crush something out of me. Put it down, I said. My voice didn't sound like mine. It sounded thinner, younger, like I was suddenly 17 again, not a man standing in the wreckage of a family that had already fallen apart. She didn't move. Her fingers stayed wrapped around the bottle, tight. Like if she loosened her grip even slightly, everything would spill out. Not just the pills, but the decision she'd been carrying for years. You don't understand, she whispered. I don't need to understand, I snapped, stepping closer. I just need you to not do this. But even as I said it, something inside me shifted. A small, cold thought. Quiet. Controlled. It didn't scream. It didn't panic. It just observed. If she's gone, the pressure stops. I clenched my jaw so hard it hurt. No, I muttered under my breath, like I could physically push that thought away. Her eyes lifted to mine, and something in her expression changed. Not fear. Not sadness. Recognition. You hear it too, don't you? She said softly. My chest tightened. I don't know what you're talking about. But she did. She always did. That voice, she continued. The one that makes everything feel distant. I shook my head harder now, backing away like distance could undo the moment. That's not real. It is, she said. And it gets stronger. Her grip on the bottle loosened slightly, just enough for it to rattle in her hand. I've been fighting it for years, she whispered. In all of you. Silence stretched between us. Heavy. Breathing. Alive. You think dying is going to fix this? I asked, my voice cracking now. You think leaving me alone is going to make it better? I think it's the only thing I haven't tried, she said. And that broke something in me. Because it wasn't desperation anymore. It was certainty. The kind of certainty that comes after you've exhausted every other option. No, I said again, stepping forward, reaching for her wrist. We can figure something out. There are doctors, real ones, not whatever you. They won't see it, she cut in sharply. Her voice rose for the first time. Not angry, not loud, but final. They never did. My hand hovered inches from hers. I could feel the tension in the air, the fragile line between stopping her and pushing her. You're wrong, I said, but I didn't believe it. Not fully, not anymore. Because of the boxes, because of the recordings, because of that voice that didn't sound like me, but somehow belonged to me. Her shoulders dropped slightly, like she was tired, not just in that moment, but tired of years of watching, recording, waiting, losing. I can't lose you too, she whispered. And there it was, the truth beneath everything. Not fear of me, fear of losing me, but twisted, into something unbearable. "You're not going to," I said quickly. "I'm right here." But even as I said it, I remembered the photos, the nights I didn't remember, the version of me that existed when I wasn't looking. And for a split second, I understood why she didn't believe me. Her eyes searched my face, like she was trying to memorize it. Every line, every detail, every piece of me that still looked like her son. "I need you to listen to me," she said softly. "I am." "No," she shook her head. "Not like this. Really listen." My throat felt tight. I nodded anyway. "If it gets worse," she continued slowly, choosing every word carefully. "If you start losing time, if you start feeling like you're not fully there." My stomach twisted. "Then you have to stop it." A chill ran through me. "Stop what?" Her eyes didn't leave mine. "Yourself." The word hit like a physical force. I stepped back. "No. You have to promise me," she said. "No." I snapped louder now. "I'm not promising you that, I'm not." "You don't get to ignore this," she shouted. The sound cut through everything. Sharp. Raw. Painful. "You think I wanted to believe this?" she continued, her voice breaking now. "You think I wanted to look at my own child and wonder when he'd disappear?" "I'm not disappearing." I yelled back. "Aren't you?" she fired back. Silence. Because neither of us knew the answer. Her breathing slowed slightly. She looked down at the bottle again, then back at me. "I wrote everything down," she said quietly. "In the boxes." My chest tightened again. Everything I learned, everything I saw, every pattern. She took a small step toward me. I was hoping if I couldn't be there, maybe that would be enough. My eyes burned. "You are enough," I said, my voice breaking completely now. "You don't have to do this." For a second. Just one. I thought she might believe me. Her expression softened. Her hand lowered slightly. Hope flickered. Then, it vanished. "I wish that were true," she whispered. And before I could react, she moved. Fast. Too fast. The bottle tilted. I lunged forward. But I was a second too late. The sound of pills hitting her mouth. Dry. Hollow. Unforgettable. No. I grabbed her arm, trying to force her to spit them out. But she swallowed. I felt it. I saw it. And something inside me shattered completely. "Why would you do that?" I screamed, shaking her now. "Why would you do that?" Tears blurred everything. My hands were trembling so hard I could barely hold onto her. She didn't fight me. She didn't panic. She just looked at me. Calm. Too calm. "It's okay," she said softly. "No, it's not." I choked out. "No, it's not okay." "You're going to be okay," she corrected. And that made it worse. So much worse. Because she believed it. Even now. Even like this. Her legs started to weaken. I caught her before she hit the floor. My heart was pounding so violently, it felt like it might tear through my chest. "Stay with me," I begged. "Please, just stay with me." Her head rested against my shoulder. Her breathing slowed. Each inhale softer than the last. "You're stronger than this," she murmured. "I'm not." I cried. "I'm not strong enough for this." "You are," she insisted weakly. Her fingers curled slightly into my shirt. "You just don't know it yet." I shook my head, tears falling freely now. "I need you," I said. The words felt small, useless, childish, but they were all I had left. Her grip loosened. Her voice dropped to almost nothing. "You won't always have me," she whispered. And then, so quietly I almost missed it, "I'm sorry." Her body went still. Not suddenly. Not violently. Just still. And the silence that followed was louder than anything I had ever heard. I don't remember how long I sat there, holding her, calling her name, begging for something that wasn't coming back. Time didn't exist in that moment. Nothing did, except the weight of her in my arms, and the sound of my own breathing, uneven, broken, alive, and underneath it, barely there, that same cold voice. quiet, observing, detached. It didn't feel grief the way I did. It just noticed. She's gone. I squeezed my eyes shut, shaking my head violently. No. But the thought didn't leave. It didn't argue. It didn't push. It just stayed. Calm. Patient. Waiting. And for the first time, I was terrified it might be right. Years later, I still haven't opened those boxes all the way. Not properly. Not like she wanted. Because now I understand something I didn't back then. Those boxes weren't just for me. They were a warning. A map. A final attempt to guide me through something she couldn't stop. And maybe, just maybe, they are the only reason I'm still here. But there's one thing I haven't told you yet. Something I found. The last time I tried to open them. Something that made me close them again. Something that made me realize this story isn't over. Because at the very bottom of the second box, under everything else, there was one final note. Sealed. Untouched. With a date written on it. Not from the past. Not from my childhood. But from the future. In her handwriting. And it said, "Open this when you start to forget who you are." And lately, I think that time is getting closer. I didn't touch that note again for a long time. Not because I forgot about it, but because I couldn't. It sat at the bottom of the second box like something alive. Like it was waiting for me to become the version of myself it was written for. Open this when you start to forget who you are. At first, I told myself I was fine. I built a life that looked normal from the outside. New city. Small apartment. A job that didn't ask too many questions. People who didn't know my last name long enough to connect it to anything. I learned how to mimic everything. Smiles. Reactions. Concern. I studied people the way some people study language. When someone laughed, I laughed a second later. When someone got upset, I mirrored just enough to make it believable. Not too much. Never too much. Because too much felt fake. And too little made people uncomfortable. So I found the middle. A safe distance. A version of me that passed. Most days. But nights were different. Nights didn't care about performance. Nights didn't need an audience. That's when things started slipping. Small at first. I'd forget conversations. Lose track of time. Wake up in places I didn't remember going to. At first, I blamed exhaustion. Stress. Grief. Anything that made sense. Anything that didn't sound like her voice echoing in my head. It gets stronger. I ignored it. For years. Until the first real crack. It happened on a Thursday. I remember that because I had a routine. Work. Gym. Same diner after. Same booth. Same order. Consistency made things feel controlled. Predictable. Safe. I was sitting there halfway through my meal when the waitress came. Young. Maybe early 20s. Friendly in that automatic practiced way. "You okay?" she asked. I looked up. Confused. "Yeah, why?" She hesitated. "You've been sitting here for almost 2 hours." My stomach tightened. "That's not possible," I said immediately. I just sat down. I remembered walking in. Ordering. The food had just come out. Hadn't it? She gave me a look. Not judgmental. Just uncertain. "You came in before my shift started," she said carefully. That was at 4. I glanced at the clock on the wall. 6:17. Something cold slid down my spine. "No," I said again, quieter this time. But there was no conviction left in it. I looked down at my plate. The food was cold. Barely touched. But the drink beside it. Empty. Completely empty. And I didn't remember taking a single sip. A ringing started in my ears. Low. Distant. Like something trying to break through. "You sure you're okay?" she asked again. I forced a smile. Yea. There it was. The mask. "I'm good," I said. "Just tired." She nodded, but I could tell she didn't fully believe me. Didn't matter. I didn't believe me either. I paid. Left. Walked out into the evening air that felt too sharp against my skin. And for the first time in years, I thought about the boxes. not just thought. Felt pulled, like something inside me was quietly pointing in one direction. Go back. I ignored it. For 3 more days. Then it happened again. Worse this time. I woke up in my apartment. On the floor. Lights off. No memory of how I got there. My phone was across the room. Screen cracked. There was blood on my knuckles. Not a lot, but enough. Enough to notice. Enough to make my chest tighten in a way I couldn't explain. I stood up slowly. My body felt off, like I'd run a marathon in my sleep. Every muscle heavy. Every movement delayed. I walked to the bathroom, turned on the light, and froze, because for a split second, I didn't recognize the person in the mirror. Not fully. The face was mine. I knew that. But the expression, it didn't match how I felt. It was blank. Too still. Too calm. Like whatever should have been behind my eyes wasn't there. Then it shifted, just slightly, and suddenly it was me again. Breathing uneven. Eyes wide. Alive. I stumbled back, gripping the edge of the sink. No. The word came out weak. Uncertain. I looked down at my hands. The blood had dried along my knuckles. Thin lines. Like I'd hit something. Or someone. My stomach dropped. And for the first time, the thought didn't feel distant. It didn't feel separate. It felt close. Too close. What did you do? I shook my head violently. I didn't do anything. But I didn't know that. Not anymore. That's when I went to the closet, pulled the boxes down, set them on the floor in front of me. My hands were shaking before I even touched them. Because I knew, deep down, this was it. This was the moment she had been preparing me for. I opened the second box first. Not slowly this time. Not carefully. Desperately. Digging past the photos, the notes, the recordings, until I reached the bottom. The envelope, still sealed, still waiting. My name on the front. Her handwriting, the same as I remembered. The same as it had always been. Steady. Certain. Like she knew this moment would come. Open this when you start to forget who you are. I'm there, I whispered. My voice barely held together. I'm there now. My fingers pressed against the edge of the envelope. For a second. Just one. I hesitated. Because opening it meant something. It meant she was right. About everything. And once I crossed that line, there was no going back. Then my hand moved. Slow. Deliberate. The seal broke. A soft tear that sounded louder than it should have. Inside. One folded piece of paper. And something else. Small. Metal. I pulled the paper out first. Unfolded it. And started reading. My hands trembling so hard the words blurred for a second before they settled into focus. If you're reading this, it means it started. My chest tightened immediately. You've begun losing time. The gaps will get longer. The behavior will become harder to recognize as not your own. Each word felt like it was being pulled directly out of my head. I need you to understand something very important. This part was underlined. Hard. Like she pressed the pen into the paper. You are not evil. My vision blurred again. But I kept reading. This is not who you are, but it is something inside you. My throat tightened painfully. It can think, it can act, and eventually it will try to convince you that it's the real version of you. A cold wave washed over me. Because that voice, the one I'd been hearing, it didn't argue. It didn't push. It just existed. Calm. Certain. Waiting. If you're reading this, it means I failed to stop it early. The words hit harder now. Sharper. I'm so sorry. My hands shook violently. I had to grip the paper tighter just to keep reading. There is one way I believe it can be stopped. My breathing stopped. This was it. This was the answer. The solution. The thing she died believing. You won't like it. My chest tightened again. But I need you to trust me. The room felt smaller. The air heavier. Like everything was building towards something I wasn't ready to hear. If the gaps become too large, If you begin to lose control. If you ever find evidence that you've hurt someone and don't remember it. My grip tightened around the paper. Then I saw the next line, and everything inside me went completely still. You have to remove yourself before it removes you. The words didn't process at first. Not fully. Then they did. And when they did, something inside me broke. No. It came out as a whisper. Barely there. Because I understood exactly what she meant. She wasn't talking about therapy, or treatment, or anything that could fix this. She was talking about ending it. Ending me. My hands dropped slightly. The paper trembling. My vision narrowing. Because suddenly, everything made sense. The pills. The fear. The years of watching. She didn't just think this couldn't be stopped. She believed it had to be contained. At any cost. Even me. Even herself. And for the first time, I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel betrayal. I felt something worse. I felt understanding. Because deep down, a part of me already knew. The voice didn't react. Didn't argue. Didn't panic. It just waited. Like it had been waiting for this exact moment. And then, very quietly, it spoke. You're not going to do that. I froze. Because this time, it didn't feel separate. It felt closer than ever. Like it wasn't behind me anymore. Not beside me. But inside the same space as my own thoughts. Blending. Merging. Becoming harder to distinguish. You don't get to decide that, I whispered. But even as I said it, I wasn't sure who I was talking to. The room felt wrong. Too quiet. Too still. Like something had shifted in a way I couldn't undo. My eyes dropped to the envelope again. To the small metal object I hadn't looked at yet. My hand moved toward it slowly. Almost unwillingly. Because part of me already knew. But I needed to see it. Needed confirmation. My fingers closed around it. Cold. Solid. Familiar. I lifted it out. And my breath caught. Because it wasn't just something random. It was a key. Old. Worn. With a small tag attached. My hands trembled as I turned it over. And read what she'd written on it. For when you're ready to finish this, the world didn't feel real anymore. Because suddenly, this wasn't just a warning. It was a plan. And I hadn't reached the end of it yet. Not even close. Somewhere out there. There was something waiting for me. Something she had prepared. Something she believed would end this. And the worst part, I didn't know if I was supposed to find it. Or if something inside me already had. I stared at the key for a long time. Long enough for the room to go quiet in a way that didn't feel natural. Long enough for my breathing to slow, not because I was calming down, but because something inside me was. That same cold presence. Steady. Patient. Like it had seen this coming long before I did. For when you're ready to finish this, finish what? I already knew the answer. I just didn't want to say it out loud. My fingers tightened around the key until the edges pressed into my skin. Pain helped. It kept me here. Grounded. Present. At least, I thought it did. I pushed myself up off the floor, the note still clutched in my other hand. My apartment felt different now. Not physically, but wrong. Like it wasn't entirely mine anymore. Like I was sharing it with something that didn't belong. I walked to the door. Paused. Because for a second, I couldn't remember where I was going. My mind blanked. Completely. Just empty space where a thought should have been. Then it snapped back. Sharp. Clear. Find it. The place. The thing she left behind. My grip on the key tightened. Yeah, I whispered. Find it. But the way I said it, it didn't feel like a decision. It felt like agreement. And I didn't know who I had just agreed with. The drive felt longer than it should have. Not because of distance, but because of the silence. No music. No distractions. Just the sound of the engine. And my own thoughts. Except they weren't fully mine anymore. Not all of them. I kept replaying her words. Her voice. The way she looked at me that night. Not like I was her son. but like I was something she was trying to save the world from. My hands tightened on the steering wheel. She was wrong, I said out loud. The words hung in there, heavy, uncertain. And then, very quietly, came the response. Was she? I inhaled sharply. My grip slipped slightly before tightening again. I'm still here, I said. That was my proof. That was the thing I held onto. I haven't hurt anyone. Silence. Then, you don't remember. My stomach dropped. No, I said immediately. Too fast. Too defensive. Stop. But the thought didn't stop. It didn't need to. It had already planted itself. And now it was growing. I drove faster. Not because I was in a hurry, but because I needed to outrun some, even if it was inside me. The address wasn't written anywhere. Not directly. But it didn't need to be. Because as I drove, something started to feel familiar. Not in a clear, conscious way. More like muscle memory. Turns that felt automatic. Roads that felt known. Even though I couldn't remember ever being there. My chest tightened. No. But I didn't turn around. Because some part of me, whether it was me or not, already knew where I was going. I pulled up in front of the house just as the sun was starting to drop. And everything inside me went still. Because I recognized it. Not from memory, but from something deeper. Something instinctive. It was old. Quiet. Isolated just enough to feel removed from everything else. The kind of place no one would question. No neighbors close enough to notice. No noise to draw attention. My hands trembled slightly as I turned off the engine. The silence that followed was suffocating. Because this wasn't random. This wasn't chance. She chose this place. For a reason. And I was here now. For that same reason. The key felt heavier in my hand as I stepped out of the car. Each step toward the door felt wrong. Like I was walking into something I wasn't supposed to survive. My heartbeat echoed in my ears. Loud. Unsteady. Alive. The key slid into the lock like it belonged there. No resistance. No hesitation. Just a smooth, quiet click. And the door opened. Inside. Darkness. Still air. And something else. Something I couldn't name. But felt immediately. Like a presence. Waiting. I stepped inside slowly. The floor creaked under my weight. The door closed behind me with a soft click that sounded final. Too final. I didn't move for a moment. Just stood there. Listening. Nothing. No movement. No sound. But that didn't make it better. It made it worse. Because it felt like the silence was watching me. I reached for the light switch. Hesitated. Then flipped it. The room lit up. And my breath caught. Because it wasn't empty. Not even close. It was organized. Carefully. Deliberately. Like someone had been working here for a long time. Walls lined with notes. Photos. Charts. Connections drawn between things I didn't fully understand. But somehow recognized. My stomach twisted. Because this wasn't random research. This was about me. About all of us. My brothers. Me. The progression. Every stage. Every change. Documented. Tracked. Studied. My chest tightened painfully. She did all this. My voice barely worked. And then I saw it. In the center of the room. A chair. Bolted to the floor. Straps attached. Heavy. Reinforced. My entire body went cold. No. But my feet didn't move. Because next to it was a table. And on that table, another recorder. And a note. My name written across it. Same handwriting. Same certainty. Like she knew I would stand exactly where I was standing now. I approached slowly. Every step heavier than the last. My hand hovered over the recorder. Then pressed play. Static. A breath. And then, her voice. If you've made it here, it means you found the key. My chest tightened instantly. I didn't know if you would. Her voice sounded older. Tired. Like this was recorded long after everything else. Or if something else would bring you. A chill ran through me. Because she didn't say that casually. She said it like she knew. Like she expected it. I need you to listen carefully, she continued. This is the last part of the plan. My heart started pounding again. Fast. Uncontrolled. You're not alone anymore, she said. You haven't been for a long time. My breathing stopped. The gaps, the lost time, that's not absence. It's presence. The room felt like it was closing in. Because that confirmed it. Everything. You're sharing control. My hands started shaking again. No. But I didn't stop listening. Couldn't. And it's getting stronger. Her voice broke slightly on that word. Stronger. I tried to find a way to remove it without hurting you. Silence. A small broken breath. I couldn't. My throat tightened painfully. So this is what's left. My eyes slowly lifted. Back to the chair. The straps. The setup. Everything she had built. Everything she had prepared. You need to restrain yourself, she said. When you feel it taking over, you need to be here. My heart slammed against my chest. Hard. Violent. Because if you don't. She hesitated. And that hesitation said everything. It will. The recorder crackled slightly. Then her voice softened. Not as a researcher. Not as someone documenting something dangerous. But as a mother. If there's still enough of you left, you'll understand. Tears blurred my vision. I'm so proud of you for making it this far. My knees felt weak. Because that sounded like goodbye. Final. Permanent. And if you're hearing this, a pause. Longer this time. Like she was struggling to say the next part. I'm sorry for what comes next. The recording clicked off. Silence flooded the room again. Heavy. Unforgiving. My eyes stayed locked on the chair. On the straps. On the reality of what she had built. This wasn't a guess. This wasn't fear. This was preparation. For something she knew was coming. For something she believed I wouldn't be able to stop. My hands trembled violently now. Because deep down, I understood. This wasn't just a place. It was a choice. And standing there, staring at that chair, I realized something that made my blood run cold. I didn't know if I came here to use it, or to prove that I didn't need to. And that terrified me more than anything else. Because for the first time, I couldn't tell which part of me wanted what. I stood there for a long time, not moving, not thinking clearly, just staring at the chair, at the straps, at the version of my future my mom had built with her own hands. It didn't feel real, and yet, it felt inevitable. Like this moment had been waiting for me long before I ever understood why. My fingers twitched at my side, small, almost unnoticeable. But I felt it, that same quiet shift, the one I'd been trying to ignore, the one she warned me about. You don't need this. The thought came in smooth, calm, reasonable, not forceful, not loud. That's what made it worse. I swallowed hard. I do, I said out loud. My voice echoed slightly in the empty space. Weak, uncertain. You've made it this far without it. I clenched my jaw. That's not true. You're still here. That means you're in control. I took a slow step toward the chair, my heart pounding harder now. Faster, like it was trying to pull me back, or push me forward. I couldn't tell which. She saw something, I whispered. She wouldn't have built this for no reason. Or maybe she was wrong. I stopped. Because that thought, it sounded like me. It felt like me. And that scared me more than anything. Because I didn't know if it was. She wasn't wrong, I said louder this time. Trying to anchor myself to something solid. Something real. Something that wasn't shifting under my feet. Then prove it. The words landed differently. Heavier. Like a challenge. I exhaled slowly. You want proof. Silence. But it wasn't empty. It was waiting. I stepped closer. Close enough now that I could see the wear on the straps. Marks. Scratches. Signs that they'd been tested. Used. My chest tightened. Had I been here before? The thought hit so suddenly it made my head spin. No. But I didn't know. Not anymore. My memory felt like something unreliable now. Something I couldn't trust. Something that could be missing pieces. Important pieces. Without me even realizing it. My hands lifted slowly, hovering over the straps. Then, I sat down. The chair was colder than I expected. Hard, unforgiving, real. My breathing picked up instantly. Not from fear, but from something deeper. Something instinctive. Like my body knew what this meant. Even if my mind didn't fully accept it yet. My fingers wrapped around the first strap. Hesitated. Then pulled it across my chest. The sound of it locking into place echoed louder than it should have. Then the second. Then the third. Each one tighter. Each one more final. Until I couldn't move freely anymore. Until I was contained. My heart was racing now. Out of control. My chest rising and falling in uneven bursts. This was it. This was the point of no return. You're making a mistake. The voice was closer now. Not distant. Not separate. Right there. Blended into my thoughts. I'm doing what she told me, I said through clenched teeth. She's gone. The words hit harder than anything else. Because they were true. Because she wasn't here to guide me. To explain. To stop me if this was wrong. It was just me now. And whatever else was inside me. You don't get to use that, I snapped. My fingers tightened against the armrests. She left you. The air left my lungs. She tried to save me. She failed. That did it. Something inside me snapped. A surge of anger. Real, raw, uncontrollable. Rushed through me. Stop. I yelled. The sound bounced off the walls. Loud. Sharp. Violent. My body tensed against the straps instinctively. Pulling. Testing. And for a second. Just a second. I felt it. A shift. Not emotional. Not mental. Physical. Like something else was pushing back from inside. My breath hitched. What was that? You felt it too. My heart dropped. Because this time, it didn't sound like a thought. It sounded like a voice. Clear. Close. Almost overlapping with mine. Panic surged through me. Real panic. The kind that makes your body move before your mind can catch up. I pulled harder against the restraints. Straining. Desperate. This isn't happening. But it was. Because my hands weren't moving the way I wanted them to. Not fully. Not cleanly. There was resistance. A delay. Like commands were being interrupted. You shouldn't have come here. My breathing turned sharp and uneven. My vision blurred slightly. Edges softening. Focus slipping. I'm still in control, I forced out. For now. The words chilled me instantly. For now. My head dropped forward for a second. Then snapped back up. Not by me. The movement was wrong. Too sharp. Too fast. My chest tightened. No. You feel it, don't you? The calm. The clarity. The absence. My thoughts started slowing. Not completely. But enough to notice. Enough to feel the difference. Like something was being muted. No, no, no. This is better. Cleaner. I shook my head violently. Trying to push it out. Trying to hold onto something real. Something emotional. Something human. But it was getting harder. Because the fear. The panic. It started fading. Not disappearing. Just dulling. Like someone was turning the volume down. You don't need it. I do, I whispered weakly. But even that felt distant. Less urgent. Less real. The straps creaked under the pressure as my body pulled again. Harder this time. Stronger. Not controlled. Not measured. Raw force. My eyes widened. Because that strength. It didn't feel like mine. It felt detached. Mechanical. Efficient. You're holding yourself back. My jaw clenched. No. You always have. Another pull. The chair groaned slightly. The metal strained. And for the first time, I felt fear of something physical. Not just mental. Not just emotional. Something real. Something that could break free. My breathing came in short bursts. Fast. Unsteady. Fighting. "I'm not letting you take this," I said. But the words sounded weaker now. Less certain. "You already did." My head tilted slightly. Without me doing it. A slow, deliberate movement. Like something was testing control. My chest tightened painfully. "Stop. You came here. You locked yourself in. You gave me time." The realization hit like a punch. Hard. Sudden. No. This wasn't containment. This was opportunity. For it. Not me. Panic surged back for a second. Sharp. Intense. Real. Then. It faded again. Too quickly. Too easily. And that was worse. Because I couldn't hold onto it. Couldn't keep it. It was slipping. "You don't need to be afraid." My lips parted slightly. But no sound came out. Because I didn't know if I agreed. Or if I just couldn't fight anymore. My fingers tightened slowly around the armrests. Controlled. Steady. Not trembling anymore. That's better. I tried to move. To resist. To push back. But it felt distant now. Like trying to control something through water. Slow. Delayed. Muted. And then, something inside me settled completely. Still. Calm. Quiet. My breathing evened out. My heart slowed. And for a moment, there was no fear. No panic. No resistance. Just clarity. I lifted my head. Looked straight ahead. At the wall covered in everything she had tried to understand. And a small thought surfaced. Not loud. Not emotional. Just present. She was right. Then another. Colder. Sharper. But she was too late. My fingers tightened again. This time. Not in resistance. In control. And slowly. Deliberately. I tested the straps. Not to break free in panic. But to understand them. Their limits. Their weaknesses. Because now, I wasn't trying to stop it anymore. I was watching it. Learning. Just like she did. And that's when something terrifying settled. Not fear. Not panic. Something worse. Acceptance. I don't know how long I sat there. Minutes. Hours. Time didn't feel the same anymore. It didn't matter. Nothing did. Except one thing. The realization that came quietly. But completely. I wasn't losing control. I was sharing it. And the more I tried to fight, the more it learned. The more it adapted. The more it became. Me. Or maybe. I was becoming it. My eyes drifted to the table. To the recorder. To the note she left behind. And for the first time, I understood something she never said out loud. This was never about stopping it. It was about slowing it down. Giving me time. Time to choose. Time to act. Time to end it. Before it fully began. And now, that time was gone. Because sitting there, strapped to that chair, feeling that calm spread through me like something natural. Something right. I realized the truth. I wasn't afraid anymore. And that was the scariest part. If you're hearing this, if you followed everything I've said, then you're exactly where I was, standing at that line, wondering which part of you is real, which part you should trust. I wish I could tell you there's a clear answer. There isn't. I wish I could tell you I stopped it. I didn't. But I slowed it. Long enough to say this. Long enough to leave something behind. Because the boxes weren't just for me. They were for anyone who needed to understand what this feels like, what it becomes, and how quietly it happens. You don't notice it at first. That's the truth. It doesn't feel like losing yourself. It feels like becoming something easier, something simpler, something that doesn't hurt. And that's why it wins. Because you stop wanting to fight. I don't know how much of me is left now. I don't know if this message even sounds like me anymore. But if there's one thing you take from this, one thing that matters, It's this. If you ever feel that shift, that quiet, that calm that replaces everything human, don't trust it, because that's where it starts. And once it feels right, it's already too late. I'm still here, for now, but not for long. So this is the last thing I'll say. My name is, and I'm trying to remember who that is.